All right. So we've got this stack of Tech Mahindra docs for this deep dive. Let's see, Q3 FY25 press release, their investor presentation, and oh wow, even the independent auditors report. Should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got the raw numbers, but it's really a look into how they're adapting. The tech landscape is evolving so fast, especially with generative AI, how they're trying to, keep that edge.
Okay, so revenue, 1.567 billion USD. Looks like a small dip year over year, but they're saying 1.3% growth in constant currency.
Yeah, that constant currency growth is important. It takes away the ups and downs of currency exchange and suggests their underlying business is actually, getting bigger. What I'm really seeing here, though, is the profitability jump. EBIT margin 10.2%, PD margin 7.4%,
Yeah.
both significantly higher than last year.
So how they do that? Just cutting costs, or maybe raising prices, or is there something else?
It looks like a few things, actually. This Project Fortius that keeps popping up seems to be a big internal initiative to boost their efficiency. We don't have the exact details, but I'd say it's probably optimizing resources, maybe streamlining their structure, and maybe even automating some things to cut overhead.
Interesting. So not just riding that industry growth wave, they're really actively trying to get more profitable. What else is standing out to you, financials wise?
Their net new deal wins, it's huge. 745 million USD, more than double what they had this time last year. And to top it off, their free cash flow, strong at 199 million. This all says that they're not just growing, but doing it in a way that, makes sense financially, sustainably.
Yeah, that financial health is definitely good, but nothing grows in a vacuum. What's really driving this success for them?
Well, their BFSI vertical banking, financial services, and insurance, that one's still a powerhouse. But they're also seeing big growth in a category they just call others, which I gotta say, I'm a little curious about. Might need to dig into that later.
Uh-huh. I love a good mystery. And the investor presentation really hammers home the point about strong deal wins across those prioritized verticals and markets. Smart to diversify, especially considering they came from telecom, right?
Absolutely. They're very intentionally, going beyond their traditional telecom base and moving into new areas.
All right, let's talk strategy then. What are their big moves?
Well, they're really going all in on generative AI, not just, testing the waters, like full on diving in head first. This Agent X suite they launched, it's a whole collection of generative AI solutions, and they're building these centers of excellence powered by NVIDIA.
Yeah, everyone's talking about generative AI these days. Are they just following the hype, or are they actually set up to be a leader here?
I think they're making a serious play. They're definitely investing a lot in building the infrastructure and getting the expertise. The investor presentation says over 50,000 employees have already gone through AI and generative AI training. That's huge in terms of, upskilling.
Wow, that's a serious commitment to their employees. They're not just thinking short term, they're building for the long haul.
Exactly. And it's not just building it themselves either. Their partnership strategy is a big part of this too. They've got AWS for an autonomous networks operations platform, color tokens for those microsegmentation cybersecurity solutions, even Universal Scientific Industrial over in Shanghai to set up an offshore development center in India.
So instead of trying to do everything themselves, they're teaming up with, like, specialists in different fields. Is that because the tech landscape's just getting too complex?
It is. I mean, no company can be the expert on everything, but by partnering strategically, they can really expand what they offer, and stay ahead of the curve without having to build everything from scratch. It's really smart to use external expertise that way.
Makes sense. And, all this expansion, all this push into AI, it takes a lot of talent. But their IT attrition rate, it's up a bit year over year, 11.2% now. What do you think about that?
Definitely something to, keep an eye on. It's still below the average for the industry, but any increase in people leaving can be a worry, especially in tech, where talent is everything. They'll need to focus on creating an environment that, attracts the best people, but also keeps the great people they already have.
They do mention those employee training and development programs in the report, which is good.
Yeah.
But keeping people, it's a tough one, especially with how competitive it is out there.
Yeah. And it's not just about, money and benefits. It's about the whole culture, making people feel valued, challenged, and, like they can grow. The report talks about Tech M Ignite, where employees can lead innovation, but we need more info to really get their whole talent strategy.
Definitely a key area to watch. And they've also got this challenge of declining active customer count. Not exactly a trend you want to see.
No, not ideal. Seems like they might be losing some clients or maybe struggling to get new ones in some areas. Could be, competition getting tougher, the market changing, maybe even some dissatisfaction. We need more data to really to see what's going on.
Yeah, another puzzle for us to solve. Now, before we get into the specifics of their AI stuff and partnerships, there's this thing in the auditor's report, an emphasis of matter. It's about a legal dispute from that Satyam Computer Services merger way back in 2011.
Ah, yeah. The Satyam situation, it's been going on forever. They're facing claims of like 12,304 million rupees in supposed advances,
Yeah.
but their management is saying, they don't think they'll have to pay.
So it's an old issue, not really affecting their current financials, but still a potential risk for investors.
Definitely. It shows how important due diligence is, understanding the whole history of a company, even when you're looking at what they're doing now. It's interesting, though, the CFO, Rohit Anand, kind of talks about risk management in his comments. He highlights optimized working capital management as a reason they're doing so well financially.
Makes sense. Even if they think they won't have to pay those Satyam claims, it's a reminder that, unexpected things happen. Managing your finances well helps with those risks.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that the CEO, Mohit Joshi, his commentary is all about their long-term goals. He's pointing to the better rate of deal wins and the bigger operating margins as proof that their plan is working.
Okay, so they're confident about the future, even with these challenges. But Project Fortius, it keeps coming up as a big part of their success. Do you know more about what it actually is?
Unfortunately, these sources don't give us much detail. But based on what they do say, it seems like a whole bunch of initiatives aimed at, being more efficient and profitable. It seems like it involves streamlining their structure, maybe bringing in some new automation tools and making sure they're using resources in the best way, perhaps even revisiting pricing or doubling down on sales and marketing in some key areas.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tightening the belt, making sure every resource is being used well. But let's go back to those generative AI initiatives. They've got that Agent X suite that seems pretty central to their strategy. What is that exactly?
So Agent X, it's like, imagine a toolbox filled with all these AI agents that can do complicated tasks across different business functions, like streamlining things, analyzing data, even helping with software development. They're even saying it could boost productivity by 70% in some areas.
Whoa, 70%. That's a big claim. But if a business is struggling to be efficient, those kinds of gains would be really tempting. Do we have any, real-world examples of how they're using Agent X?
Yeah, they do highlight some interesting use cases in the investor presentation. Like they're using Agent X to automate customer service interactions so the human agents can focus on the really complex issues. And they're also using these AI agents to analyze huge data sets, find patterns that humans might miss, leading to better decisions.
Okay, so it's not about replacing people with robots. It's more like making humans better, more efficient, businesses smarter. But to develop and use these AI solutions, you need some serious technical infrastructure. How are they handling that?
That's where those centers of excellence, the ones powered by NVIDIA, come in. They're using NVIDIA's AI enterprise software platform with tools like NeMo, NeM microservices, and Rapids. Think of it as the foundation they're building their AI capabilities on.
So they're not just buying off-the-shelf AI stuff. They're building their own tools and platforms, customized for what they need and what their clients need.
Exactly. And partnering with NVIDIA, who's really a leader in AI hardware and software, it shows they're serious about building a strong, scalable AI ecosystem.
And of course, tech is only as good as the people using it. We talked about how much they're investing in employee training. How does that fit into their AI strategy?
Well, 50,000 employees trained in AI and generative AI, I mean, that says a lot. It shows they're not just buying tech, they're building internal expertise. This training covers everything, from the basics of AI to advanced stuff like actually developing and using generative AI models.
So they want their employees to be AI savvy, not just using tools, but actually contributing to their development.
Exactly. They're not just buying AI, they're becoming an AI company.
And it seems like their partnership strategy reflects that too. It's like they're collaborating with everyone. Is there a strategy to all these partnerships?
Definitely. Take the AWS collaboration, for example. Building an autonomous networks operations platform, you need expertise in both networking and AI. By working with AWS, they're combining their industry knowledge with AWS's cloud infrastructure and AI. It creates a more powerful solution.
It's using each other's strengths to get to that shared goal.
Yeah.
What about color tokens? Why is cybersecurity such a focus for them?
Cybersecurity is critical for any business, especially now that everyone relies so much on technology. And microsegmentation, that's color token specialty, it's really effective. You divide a network into smaller, isolated parts, so if one part gets breached, the damage is limited.
Like building fortified walls inside a network.
Exactly. It stops one breach from taking down the whole thing. And it fits with this broader cybersecurity trend, moving from reacting to attacks to being more proactive, preventing them. Tech Mahindra wants to be a leader in this, offering strong cybersecurity as part of their portfolio.
Okay, so from AI to cloud to cybersecurity, they're covering a lot. But what about that deal with Universal Scientific Industrial in Shanghai? What's the thinking there?
That's all about tapping into China's tech scene. By setting up a development center in India, they get access to this highly skilled workforce and build closer ties with Chinese businesses. It's good for both sides.
So they get talent, new markets, and their Chinese partners get access to Tech Mahindra's global expertise and experience.
Yeah, a smart move for everyone. And it fits their overall global strategy. They don't want to just be an Indian tech giant, they want to be a global force.
Ambitious. But those global goals come with a lot of challenges. We talked about attrition and customers declining. What other headwinds are they facing?
Well, there's those ongoing currency exchange issues, which can mess with their revenue numbers, even if the business itself is doing well.
The global economy, right?
Yeah.
How are they dealing with those currency ups and downs?
They're using hedging to try and minimize the impact of currency changes on their finances. They're also spreading out their revenue across different currencies so they're not as exposed to any one currency's fluctuations.
Makes sense, like building a financial shock absorber for the global economy.
Mm.
Okay, let's go back to that mysterious others vertical that's showing so much growth. Any more clues about what's driving that?
The investor presentation doesn't give us much, but I have a theory. Remember those analyst recognitions they got? They were ranked as leaders in things like healthcare payer services, intelligent automation, and data science. Maybe this others category includes those newer areas, like healthcare tech, data analytics, and specialized automation solutions.
That would make sense. They're branching out, moving into those high growth areas where their expertise is valuable. It's like they're casting a wider net, looking beyond their traditional strengths.
Exactly. And they're not just dipping their toes in, they're being recognized for their expertise in these new areas. It shows they're making strategic investments and building capabilities that are, really hitting the mark.
Okay, so they're expanding, building new skills, getting ready for future growth. But Project Fortius is still kind of a black box. We know it's about efficiency and profit, but can we get any more clues from the management commentaries?
Well, the CFO talks about targeted actions that led to the EBIT margin and operating petty growth. He specifically mentions optimized working capital management and a steady increase in new deal wins.
The Project Fortius is like this multi-pronged approach, streamlining operations, winning more business, and managing money better. But the details, those are still a secret.
Yeah, maybe they're keeping it quiet because of competition. Or maybe they just want to show the results before they reveal the nitty-gritty of how they did it.
Whatever it is, their financial performance says it's working. But wrapping up this part of the discussion, I'm struck by how big and ambitious their strategy is. Generative AI, partnerships across the globe, expanding into new markets so quickly. Do you think they're taking on too much?
It's a fair question. There's always a risk when a company tries to do so much at once. But they're a big organization, with a lot of resources and a track record of success.
True. It's not like they're a tiny startup trying to do everything at once. They have the infrastructure, the experience to handle complex projects. But it'll be interesting to see how they balance all this growth and innovation while keeping things efficient and tackling those challenges, like, people leaving and that customer count going down.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so interesting. It's a real-time look at what a big tech company has to do to adapt, evolve, stay ahead in an industry that's constantly changing.
Speaking of staying ahead, let's talk about the big trends shaping the tech world and how they fit in. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, their focus on generative AI, cloud computing, and cybersecurity, that's a clear sign of where the industry is headed. These technologies aren't just niche things anymore. They're becoming the foundation of the digital economy.
Yeah. And all these partnerships, it shows how connected the tech world is becoming. It's not about going it alone anymore. It's about collaborating with the experts to build those comprehensive solutions.
Exactly. And this move toward collaboration, it's not just companies, it's businesses, universities, research institutions, all working together to come up with new ideas. It's becoming a much more like interconnected web.
And Tech Mahindra is right in the middle of that, building those partnerships, connecting the different parts of the tech world.
Exactly. They're not just watching the change, they're helping to make it happen.
But like we said, tech is only as good as the people using it. How does their approach to talent, developing their people, fit into all of this?
Their commitment to training their employees, it shows how important people are in tech. It's not enough to have the latest tech anymore. You need skilled people who can adapt to use it to its full potential.
It's like instead of seeing employees as just parts of a machine, they're recognizing that people are the real source of innovation, of advantage.
Exactly. And it's not just about, technical skills. It's about being creative, thinking critically, being able to solve problems, the skills you'll need in this complex AI-driven world.
Right. We need people who can not only use the tech, but understand what it means, what the challenges are, and use it to create solutions that, benefit everyone.
And that brings us to another important thing, sustainability. Tech Mahindra's commitment to ethical and sustainable practices, it shows that more and more businesses are realizing they have a responsibility to operate in a way that's good for people and the planet.
Like the tech industry is growing up a bit, moving beyond just making money and embracing, a bigger set of values.
Exactly. And it's not just about doing the right thing, it's also good business. Customers want sustainable products and services, and investors are paying attention to those environmental, social, and governance factors.
So sustainability is not just a nice bonus anymore. It's something businesses have to do if they want to succeed long term.
Absolutely. And Tech Mahindra's focus on sustainability shows how companies can make those ethical and environmental considerations part of their core strategy.
So as we move into the last part of our deep dive, I'm curious about the bigger questions that come out of all this. What are those big unanswered questions that we should be thinking about?
Well, they're going all in on generative AI, but will it last? Is it just a trend? Or is it a real change in how businesses will work? Are we at the start of like a whole new era where AI is everywhere?
And what about jobs? If AI is everywhere, will a lot of people lose their jobs? Or will it create new opportunities, change what work looks like? These are questions we need to really think about.
Definitely. And they're embracing all these partnerships. But does that mean the whole tech ecosystem is shifting? Is the time of those huge tech giants fading away and being replaced by all these specialized players working together?
And if that's happening, what does it mean for competition, for innovation, for who holds the power in the industry? Interesting questions.
For sure. And we can't forget about sustainability. Is it all just for show, or have corporate values really changed?
Are we seeing a new kind of business, one that cares about social and environmental responsibility as much as profits? And if so, how will that change how businesses work and interact with the world?
Those are big questions, but important ones. We can't just look at the numbers and strategies. We have to think about the bigger picture, the potential for good and bad.
And that's where you come in, our listener.
Oh.
We've given you the information, the insights, but it's up to you to make the connections, come to your own conclusions, and decide how you'll handle this ever-changing tech world.
Exactly. And remember, there's no one right answer. The tech world is full of uncertainty, and that's what makes it so exciting. Be curious, stay informed, be engaged, and you'll be ready for whatever the future brings.
It really feels like a turning point, for the tech industry. Tech Mahindra's story is kind of like a mini version of all these big changes we're seeing. But how about for our listener? What are the big takeaways here? How can someone use these insights from Tech Mahindra, in their own career or their business, or even just to understand the world better?
Well, one thing that really stands out is how willing they are to embrace change. They're not stuck in the old ways. They're looking for new technologies, new markets, new ways of doing things.
Yeah, being able to adapt like that, it seems crucial, especially with how fast everything's changing.
It is. And it's not just about, following the latest trends. It's about having a mindset that's open to new possibilities, even if it means like shaking things up. Think about your own field. What are the things that could totally change your industry? Are you ready to adapt, to evolve?
And it's not just about individual adaptability, right? Tech Mahindra's partnerships, it shows how important collaboration is becoming.
Absolutely. No one can be the expert on everything, but by working with others, with the right partners, you can get the knowledge and resources you might not have on your own. Think about your own network. Are there collaborations that could help you reach your goals better?
Like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly. And Tech Mahindra, they're really focused on developing their employees. They're investing a lot in training them. They get it. Their people are their biggest strength.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about investing in the people who can actually use it.
Exactly. Think about your own team, your own company. Are you giving your people chances to learn and grow? Is your culture one that values learning and development?
And we can't forget about their commitment to sustainability. It's a reminder that success isn't just about profits, it's about doing business in a way that's good for everyone, for the planet.
Yeah, sustainability isn't some side project anymore. It's part of being a responsible business. Think about your own impact. Are there ways you can be more sustainable? Can you create value for your customers and also help the environment?
It's a lot to think about, but I think Tech Mahindra's story gives us some good ideas for navigating this crazy business world.
They're showing us that you can be ambitious, you can innovate, but still be responsible and ethical.
And I think that's the biggest lesson here. We have the power to shape the future of tech, and it's our responsibility to use that power well.
Very well said. So, wrapping up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought. Tech Mahindra is betting big on generative AI, on partnerships, on a sustainable future. We'll have to see if they're right.
But their journey is a good reminder that the future isn't set in stone. We make it with our choices, our actions, and our commitment to building a better world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it gave you some good insights and maybe spark some new ideas.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.